You know what grinds my gears? What grinds my gears is when I see the phrase, what are the haters gonna say now? Oh, that grinds my gears. Everybody's not a hater, believe it or not. We are such a sensitive society that if you say anything that possibly hurts somebody's feelings, you a hater. Oh no, that is not the case. First off, many of you are confusing haters with trolls. See, trolls are miserable people that have nothing going on in life, so their entire energy force is to get people to react to them. And what's the best way to get someone to react to you? By saying something negative. You, right now, on whatever social site you're on, you can say, it's a beautiful day outside. And someone will come in the comments and say, F your beautiful day. That's not a hater. That's a troll. There is a difference. You need to understand this. Everybody doesn't have haters. You're not that important to have haters. Everybody, though, has trolls because they want your attention. Do you understand what I'm saying to you? You do not have haters, you have trolls. Then there's a different type of hater. So you got to break this down. You got to use your brain. It's a tool. There are certain haters that hate for profit. Those are called Skip Bayless haters. Where you take someone and regardless of what they do, you put their name in your mouth so you can get paid. That's a Skip Bayless hater. Then there are personal haters like Stephen A. and LeBron. That's personal. It's personal hate. Like me and Duke University. That's personal hate. That's acknowledged. I don't like you. I will never like you. No, I will wish bad on you. That is an acknowledged hater. Everybody else in the world, the other 8 billion people, are just giving an opinion on what they see. So if they see something they don't like and they express it and it's clear and it makes sense and it's logical, then the person that they're speaking on corrects the issue. That's not what the hater is going to say now. That's you correcting the issue. If you threw 5 interceptions and then the next week you threw 5 touchdowns, yes, people are going to be less critical of you on the 5 touchdown game. That is common sense. You don't have haters. You just played better. That is so frustrating to me. It's so frustrating to me. If you miss the game-winning shot, you turn the ball over, you're going to get criticized. The next game, if you hit the game-winning shot, you will be praised. That's how life works. You don't have to call out. There are no haters. You just did better. My God. Hope everyone is having a blessed day today. My media brethren have learned absolutely nothing in regards to Archibald Manning. Absolutely nothing. And I wonder, is it on purpose or they just stupid? I don't know. I like to believe it's on purpose because I understand if it's on purpose. You know, you're trying to get the reactions, you're trying to get the clicks, you're trying to get, I understand that. If you just, I was watching the game and they were playing Vanderbilt and Arch do a little swing pass. Oh boy, -1 yard swing pass, and oh boy ran it 75 yards. And you would have thought that Arch had thrown an 80-yard bomb like he was Randall Cunningham against the Bills in the 90s with Bruce Smith coming after. I don't understand why we just can't just keep it down the middle. They built him up so high that it was going to be impossible for him to meet those expectations. Then, when he struggled a bit, they had to backtrack, and they overcompensated with the backtracking, calling him a flop and all of this stuff. They overcompensated with the backtracking. So now that he's playing well again, you would think that the experience would tell them, let's keep it even, let's keep it cool. But no, right back to the glazing. Right back to the glazing. Like a dozen donuts. Just a bunch of Krispy Kreme media out here. They just do not understand. Arch makes a nice 5-yard pass. All of a sudden, again, he's in the Heisman race. Unfortunately, I'm on the Facebook. 35 posts about Arch Manning. And I know it's me. My algorithm's probably all jacked up. But I see what's happening. They didn't learn the lesson. They're too up and down. Nobody is even killed. Everybody knows who is logical. If that boy was named Arch Johnson, he would have been a 3-4 star recruit. People would have a little patience with him. He would have his ups and downs, and then you would hope he would turn into a decent NFL prospect. But no, they had to Krispy Kreme him. And now they don't know what to do. When he has a good game, when he has a bad game, they don't know how to handle it because they was never rational. They were never unbiased at the beginning. When you're not unbiased at the beginning, all of a sudden you're scuffling. You don't know where to go now. Arch didn't have no haters. Arch had no haters. He probably had trolls. He probably had individuals that were sick of the Krispy Kreme. But no, everybody loved Arch. Everybody. He was making $6 million. He was on 15 commercials. The number one team that were defending national champions at home in game one had maybe one segment about them, and it was 6 segments about Arch. A team that they beat to get to the national championship. So no. We're not making Arch into a victim. No, Archie is not a victim. Archibald is not a victim. Arch needs to be more consistent. He has the size. He has the athletic abilities. He could be good. Could even be an NFL quarterback. He's not generational. We have to stop lying. Generational is, you can be generational 2 ways, right? Either you can just look at somebody and say, okay, that guy's different. Or you can play your way into generational. You want to know the difference? You look at Barry Sanders, Calvin Johnson, Adrian Peterson when he wasn't getting arrested before he was beating his kids. You looked at those guys and said, okay, that guy is generational. You look at somebody like Tom Brady. That guy built himself into being generational. So maybe Arch can build himself into being generational. But as far as a talent, he has talent. But a lot of quarterbacks have talent. A lot of athletes have talent. Is he more talented than, say, Shedeur Sanders? Probably not. It's funny how your name can help or hurt you depending on the situation. Also, depending on the hue or the color sometimes. But those are facts, not feelings. You know, I get this question a lot. I get it a lot. I get this question a lot. They say, Rob, I see these stories on the Instagrams and the Facebooks on BSO, and it's always the same girls dealing with the same athletes and rappers, and why? You saw James Harden is having a baby with Mario Chalmers' baby mama, Lou Williams, had a little dalliance with her. You see DeJounte Murray is on Instagram crying because he couldn't turn NBA young boys baby mama from a hoe to a housewife. He's writing paragraphs. I mean, long paragraphs. You got to check it out. I mean, I'm talking about some long paragraphs about how he wanted her to be in the house and get an education. And he was going to open up a nail salon and all of this stuff, only for her to go back twerking to NBA young boy. And people say, well, Rob, why? Have you watched the movie Bull Durham? Some of you guys are probably too young. You should watch that. It's about how, well, it's a lot of different things in the movie, but one of the themes is there's a woman in the movie, and she picks a young prospect down in single A to teach the game, so to speak. If you smell what the Rob is cooking, back in the day, at least from what I've been told, back in the day, the groupies used to actually have to physically, go outside to get the athlete. The you see the same song, the Nate Dogg everywhere. The song. They'd be at the hotel, they'd be at the club, they literally follow them around. I would consider them a pack, like wolves, and they would follow the athletes around, and basically it became a referral system. The same way back in the day when your grandma was getting free cable because the neighbor told her, and then she told Aunt Lily, and she told Uncle John, and Uncle John told Cousin Harold, and the same guy would go around and hook up the free cable. It's a referral system. They get referrals. Now, in the age of social media, certain things have changed and made things a lot easier. You can go into DMs, just say sup, and a BBL bandit will be at your door on the flight very quickly. But the referral system is still in place because you have to understand access to athletes and rappers and famous people in general are limited. So when certain women get the access, they hoard it, so to speak. They keep it internal. So the pool is not as big as you think it is. And when I say that, it's all the same people in the same pool because people talk. She came out here and did this. She flew out here and did that. She'll let you do this. She'll let you poop on her head. She'll let you R. Kelly. The pool is not as big as you think. Also, you have to understand what's a nice way of saying this that's not going to get me in trouble. You have to understand that to be in that circle, there's some sacrifices you have to make. Maybe a better way of saying it is that if you notice the athletes that have these long-term marriages oftentimes get married young with the high school sweetheart, the college, sweetheart. Those are the ones that seem a little more, let's say, grounded, so to speak, right? As you get through the league and you become more famous, it is more difficult to find a grounded young woman that just wants you for who you are. If that makes sense. See, if I knew you back in college when we wasn't sure if you were going to be a third round or a fifth round pick, I'm talking about back in the day when it was a little less obvious. Now, I'm sure everybody knew Travis Hunter was Travis Hunter at a certain time. You get what I'm saying. But back then, I mean, I know people give Brittany Mahomes a lot of flack, right? But nobody knew Patrick Mahomes was going to be Patrick Mahomes. I mean, he was okay in high school. I mean, it wasn't like he got all these. He went to Texas Tech. He didn't go to Georgia. He didn't go to Bama. He didn't go to Ohio State. He went to Texas Tech. Even in at Texas Tech, he was okay at Texas Tech. When he got drafted, nobody thought he was going to be possibly one of the GOATs. He just hoped to be a really good quarterback. He wasn't drafted number one. He wasn't seen as a generational talent. So when he has to know deep down that she really believed in him from day one, which is probably why when other people give her flack, she's like, whatever. Probably the same thing with Steph and Aisha, LeBron and Savannah. Regardless of what's happening now, back in the day, they didn't know. They didn't know. Steph went to Davidson. You know what I mean? Nobody knew Steph was going to be Steph Curry. Now, LeBron was the chosen one. But you get the feeling that Savannah was like, hey, I like just LeBron for LeBron. All this other stuff don't matter. As you get to Kevin Durant's age or James Harden's age, it's just difficult to find someone that you can honestly say, oh, they just love me for me. Not because I'm Kevin Durant, not because I'm James Harden, not because I have an unlimited amount of money. I remember Aaron Gordon told a story. Aaron Gordon is single. Said he went out on a date. He thought, everything was cool. It was a nice young woman and intelligent. They were having good conversation, was at the bar, and she just happened to leave her phone face up. And he happened to glance at it. And when he glanced at it, he noticed that she was Googling his net worth. How do you... So, yeah. So, how do you find someone that just is for you when everybody that you meet wants to know how much you make, or they know how famous you are, or who you're going to meet? So what ends up happening? You end up with the same group of people that you're comfortable with. The groupies. I mean, I don't know. That's who you end up with. You end up, with the BBL bandits. You end up with those type of individuals because those are the ones that understand the game, so to speak. So that's why. It's funny. John Cena dated the one of the Bella twins, right? Like Nikki for like 9 years, right? Long time. Didn't want to marry her. Didn't seem to like her. Didn't seem to like the spotlight. As soon as they broke up, what did she do? She went and got somebody else famous, had a baby, you had a divorce, all of that. John Cena got him a dentist from like Canada. Say, who are you? He didn't probably just get a root canal or something. He didn't even know he was John Cena. But no, he seems so much happier though. Why? Because he found somebody that they don't care that he can do an F5. They don't care if you can't see me. They just care that she's just John Cena. That's all he wanted. Just like me for me, whoever I am. It's very difficult for athletes to do that. Rappers in general are idiots, so I don't expect them to make good decisions. And then also there is a standard, let's say, that certain women in these circles allow. I would say, and I could be wrong, ladies, you have to let me know. Most women probably wouldn't get pregnant by a guy that has other women pregnant at the same time. I mean, I'm just saying. I mean, right? Am I wrong with this? I remember what tragically happened to Steve McNair. Steve McNair was, married with 4 kids, and he had a little side thing going on. And I don't necessarily believe that she was the one that did it, but let's just say that relationship led up to whatever happened to Steve. And I remember thinking to myself, this was back in like 2009. We talking almost 14, 15 years ago. And I remember thinking to myself, well, athletes are going to see this and they're going to really think about, you know, their decisions and who they hang out with and, side chicks and all of this stuff. And I was wrong. So I've come to the conclusion that it's always going to be the same. You're always going to see the same girls with the same guys. It's going to be a circle that's all in the same pool. Every once in a while, somebody may go outside and be like, oh man, they got him a lawyer, a doctor, or something like that. But for the most part, this is what you're going to get. And in the end, if you're happy, that's all that matters. So, if James Harden is happy, if Kevin Durant is happy being single, if Anthony Edwards is happy with, 4 baby mamas and who is the Young Thug's mama, whoever that, no, it's not Young Thug, it's the other guy. I don't know what the name is. Whatever the case, then so be it. So be it. We have to talk a little bit about Ja Wick. What is going on with Ja Wick? Ja Morant got suspended, made some comments about the coaching staff. Seems to be butting heads with the coaching staff a little bit. It's having some problems there. It's fascinating to me because if you're as old as I am, you've seen this story happen before. Extremely talented player, doesn't necessarily make all the best decisions, has a really strong, fan base that at times maybe coddles them a little bit too much. You trying to determine, is he a winning player or just a player that is exciting to watch? Because in basketball, there are definitely winning players and players that are just cool to watch. Like Magic Johnson was a winning player. Larry Bird was a winning player. I think Michael Jordan had to become a winning player. LeBron's a winning player. Jokic is a winning player. SGA, proven winning player. Some, and I say this with all love, right? I love watching Carmelo Anthony, right? I think Carmelo Anthony was great for the NBA. He's a great ambassador, still doing great things, not necessarily a winning player. Russell Westbrook, once again, intensity, fire, all of this great stuff. But is he the type of guy that you can, win with? Paul George, you understand what I'm saying. It's nothing personal. It's just you can be talented and not be a winning player, right? So is Ja Morant, what does he want to be? Does he want to be like Steph or Steve Nash or, even Chris Paul? Like Chris Paul is a one, but Chris Paul is a winning player. What do you want to be? Do you just want to be a highlight guy? Do you want to be a guy that was in the league for, a few years and then flamed out? I feel like he's at a crossroads, I guess, so to speak. I feel like when he should be peaking, it's at that level. And listen, sports are crazy in the sense that you can be at the top, the highest of the highs, and then boom, it's you're done. I mean, it's funny. I was, you read these stories about these ex-athletes and they say, oh, he had 3,000-yard years. He averaged 20, and then all of this stuff happened. He's just gone. It doesn't take much. It does not take much. And I feel like Ja is at a crossroads of where you're going to have to determine exactly what type of player you want to be and what type of teammate and what type of person you want to be going forward. I always say you don't know these guys. So you got to be careful making, type of really broad judgments of things like that. But I do feel like he's at a crossroads. And he has to kind of make a decision which way he wants to go. Sometimes a fresh start is great. Sometimes you go somewhere else and it's amazing. And you do wonderful and you change your whole perspective and you win championships and you become goated or whatever it may be. Other times, not so much. You just keep bouncing and bouncing and bouncing from place to place to place until you're gone. Until you're gone or you just, a role player. So I mean, I'm just this is some OG, triple OG advice. Just, you know, you really have to think about where you want this to go right now. Do you want to lock in, with Memphis and be like, hey, I'm the guy? Because one guy, if they're talented enough, can carry an NBA team. Granted, to win a championship, you definitely have to have depth. You have to have the right vets around you. You have to have help. But you see it, you know it when you see it, right? You see Wemby and you see what he can do for the Spurs. You see Jokic and you see what he does for the Nuggets. You see Luka and you see what he does for the Lakers. Giannis. There are certain guys, if they're on the team, you're going to be competitive. And then it's just a matter of getting everybody else around you to make it work. So I hope it works out for Ja. When you're so young and you get all this money and you're trying to be something, sometimes they can get a little confusing in life. I just don't want them to have any regrets. Now, granted, if I had $100 million, $50 million, maybe I wouldn't care one way or the other. But that's just me. Man, people are mad at the Dodgers. I don't know what you're about. You see that guy, the Canadian journalist was crying. The best team did not win the World Series. That's 4 out of 7. When in single elimination games, weird stuff can happen, and maybe the best team doesn't win. I mean, clearly, like over the season, like the Patriots were better than the Giants on their undefeated year. But on that night, they were not the best. And that's what happens in single elimination. That's what makes single elimination, I don't know if you're a series person or a single elimination person, but I can see both sides of it. Because what makes single elimination so fun is that on any given night or any given game, something weird can happen and you can have an upset. Normally with series, though, you're talking 4 out of 7. I mean, so it's not a short, it's not a short series. It's not like 2 out of 3 or anything like that. 4 out of 7, normally the team that makes the best plays wins. And it's as simple as that. The Blue Jays, they had some bad luck. That ball getting wedged in the center field. That's the rule. Now, when I tried to say intentional walk should be, banned, you guys got mad at me. So I don't want to hear anything about baseball rules. But when they had some bad luck, but when you look at the totality of the series, right? What happens is some of that is their fault. And listen, the only thing, if it's game 7 and you're winning going into the 9th inning and you blow it, there's no one else to blame but yourself. And it wasn't like they blew it to Ohtani. They blew it to Betts. They blew it to Freddie Freeman. Hell, blew it to Teoscar. Hell, even Edmund Akike Hernandez would have been understandable based off their postseason heroics. Blew it to Miguel Rojas. I mean, how can you be mad at blowing it to Miguel Rojas? You can't get Miguel Rojas out. There's nobody else to blame. And somebody made a very good point about the Dodgers payroll, is that it wasn't like the Dodgers was just taking the players. The Yankees could have offered more money to Yamamoto. The Blue Jays thought they had Ohtani. The Mets spent all of that money, didn't even make it. So it's more than just the money, because in the end, Andy Pajas has to make that catch. He ain't making no money. Will Smith is on one of the best contracts I've ever heard. It's like 10 years, 100 million, like $10 million a year. Miguel Rojas is probably going to retire after this. And don't give me the whole of it. They have Yamamoto. He pitched on no days rest. We're talking about hours. No days rest. Not 1 day rest, not 2 days rest. We're talking about like 16-hour rest. If you can't get a hit off a guy, you can't score a run over somebody that just pitched the previous night. You can't be blaming that. You can't blame anybody else but yourself. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. And look, I like the Blue Jays. I thought for up until they didn't win, I thought they were going to win. I thought they were going to win. There was multiple. You had 2 chances, 2 games, multiple opportunities to win, and you just didn't get it done. So you had to give credit where credit is due. You have to give credit to Dave Roberts, who I've been critical of because he makes some weird decisions, but the decisions he made worked out. You have to give credit to the pitcher. You got to give credit to Rojas, give credit to Will Smith, give credit to Mookie for playing a good shortstop, good base running. You know, it's not just about scoring runs. It's about base runners, about defenses, it's about all that good stuff. So you got to get over it. I'm sorry. The team that wins 4 out of 7 games is the better team. No Magic. I mean, I hate to get all Magic Johnson on you, but no Magic. If you win 4 out of 7 games, you're the better team. This is coffee, by the way. Nothing else is in here. Let's see a couple comments right here. Gilbert Arena says NBA players, they do. They do. I mean, listen, it's not snitching to say that a lot of athletes are unfaithful. I mean, and most of the women are aware of it. I'm sure there are women who would like for their husbands or their boyfriends or significant others to be faithful. But that's not necessarily going to happen if you're dating an athlete, especially a particular type of athlete. The guy Myra, hey Myra, what's up, man? So back when I was in high school, I thought only white people did this. I mean, I guess it's kind of like that. You know, I remember I was in high school, and I remember one time I went on a date with with the milk. And I remember I came back to her house, and her dad and the mom was there. Mom was really nice. I think her mom, maybe liked the chocolate. Dad didn't seem too happy. That you learn stuff like that when you're young. I was 16, 17 years old. For them, you a lot of times, I'm sure a lot of people understand this, is that at least where I grew up, you're isolated, just black people around. When I was a kid, the elementary school and stuff like that. Then you go. It's so funny because where I went to high school in St. Louis, it's only like 20 minutes away from my actual, where I lived at. But it might as well have been a different country. If you know what I'm saying? Like it might as well have been a different, like I felt like I was in a totally different country. You crossed over a certain area of the city, and it was like a different place. It was like you was going into the Wizard of Oz. And I remember my boy during the summer, he had to go to summer school. And summer school was only like 2 or 3 hours. And we wanted to go like hang out, right? And I was like, shoot, I'm already up. I just hang out while you at summer school, and then we'd go and do whatever. And I remember this is the 90s, so it's a little different. I don't think I would have my kid ever do this now. But anyway, you go to summer school, and I just walk around the neighborhood. They had like a library, they had like a Dairy Queen, and it was a department store. So there was stuff to go into, but I just walk around the neighborhood, and it just was different. Different vibe, different houses, different looks, different people. The grass. The main thing I always noticed from the hood to the not hood, even to this day, even out here in LA, it's the grass. And I felt like that is a big. It's so weird to me, but I'm kind of weird anyway. But it was the grass. The grass was always greener in the nicer place. In the hood, even though, and the thing that always got me is that what I found out later is that the city or the county or whatever, they control the trees and the grass and the maintenance of all of that stuff. But in the hood, they never planted any trees. They never fixed the sidewalk. They never planted the grass. They never paved the road. It sometimes I was driving, and you know how they have those signs where you go from one city to another city? I would drive, and this is back in St. Louis days. And as you drove from the city, which where the hood was at, out to the county where it was a little better, they had these demarcation lines. And so you would be driving, and I swear, boom, 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 you're hitting the potholes and everything. And then you would hit a certain city like Ladue for people from Missouri. And I swear, as soon as you hit that line, the roads were paved. I mean, they're beautifully played, your car driving all smooth. And it was like, just that much thing, just one block, one light. And it's still like that to this day. And that's a little disheartening, to be perfectly honest with you. Before I get out of here, I gotta talk about Deion Sanders in Colorado. I figured out something while watching them get demolished for the second week in a row. And maybe Deion has figured this out as well. You know how he has the thing about the dogs and the cats and all of this stuff? I think, when he had people like initially that he brought over, like Travis Hunter and his son, and he had a bunch of other good NFL players. Those guys really cared about playing ball. They took it seriously. And I think this crop of whoever he brought in after them cared more about the TikToks, cared more about the fact that they were going to be playing on national television every week, cared more they'd be hanging out with Coach Prime, cared more that Ray Lewis or the rappers or Brittany Renner was going to come to the campus. What I'm saying is I think they care more about the flash than the substance. And when you care more about the flash than the substance, that's what you get on the field. Because you're not attention to detailed. Like the first touchdown that they gave up was just effort. I don't see the effort from them. And I think when you're just grabbing 50 guys from the transfer portal, whoever want to come, basically, you need to do a little more vetting of who you bring in. You need to do a little more vetting and do some actual recruiting of these individuals. When he says he wants dogs to come in to correct it, or if you're a cat, well, part of your job is to figure out if those people are dogs. Because what I'm seeing on the field is a bunch of cats. I'm not seeing the effort. There is talent there, but I'm not seeing the effort. And when you don't have the effort, what that means is also you don't have the preparation. You're not. Are you TikToking, or are you studying your playbook? Are you trying to get better every week, or are you trying to get more Instagram followers? It seems like an unserious team. And you can see other teams in the country, when the coach and the assistants are serious, they can still stumble, but they had it back. Like I think Alabama's a good example of that. They stumbled. Everybody's talking bad about them and everything. Stayed strong, stayed firm, stayed together, stayed serious. Right at the ship. You see it with Texas. Believe in the leader. If I believe in the leader, we stay strong, we stay together, we focus, we fix what we got to fix, and we're better. Every week, as I've covered Ohio State, Ryan Day gets up there like clockwork, and sometimes he even has to catches himself because he doesn't want them to feel comfortable. I didn't like this. We didn't do that. We can do that better. The season is not over. They're gonna get us. This team's it's not overly negative, but it's to make sure you don't feel comfortable. Because if you want to get to where you want to go, which is probably the NFL, the college football playoffs, the championship, and then the NFL, you have to take it seriously. Especially if you have an opportunity. You have to take it seriously. You can't, because It's football. It's sports. Any given Saturday, any given Sunday, you can get got. You see what happened to Penn State. They were a play away from being the number 2 team in the country to 5 losses in a row. That's how quick it can. Look how quick it changed with Dabo Luther King. It can change quick. You see Texas up and down, up and down. It changes quick. You can get got, but you have to feel some responsibility for that. You have to feel like this is something that I don't want to happen to me. I don't know if the Colorado players hurt when they lose. As long as the TikToks are ticking. As long as the Instagrams are Instagramming. I don't know. They don't play like it, I guess I should say. They don't play like it. They don't play like it bothers them. And that's a recipe for disaster. And that's how they played before Coach Prime got there. That's how they played before, when they were 1-10. Like they just didn't care. So hopefully it's a learning experience. First time playing without Shador. First time playing without Travis Hunter. Maybe he has to, when he came in, he said he's going to bring his own Louis, bring his own luggage. Well, the luggage is a little, looking a little raggedy right now. So maybe he has to go back, take a look at that luggage, see who really wants to be there. And he's going to have to do another, cut. And hopefully get them dogs in that he keeps talking about. Because right now they acting like puppies. It's been BSO Live with your boy, the Headline King, Robert Littal.